Alright, my friends, welcome back to the channel. I had the random idea and need to finish some unfinished business this week. And that unfinished business is Alan Wake American Nightmare. I had played this before. I had an old laptop that I used to play it on, and I think, a third of the way through. And it kind of scared me away because it kind of deviated itself so far from what I really enjoyed about Alan Wake 1. It was very arcadey. It was kind of handholdy at times and just was like, go here, do this, go here, do this. And I didn't really get it all that much. I just completely fell off and never returned to it. Then, after all these years, I went back. And I couldn't really even tell you why. Maybe it's just because I've seen it in my backlog so many times and just kind of chilling right at the top of my Steam library all this time knowing it is really unfinished business. However, I'm pretty happy that I did go back and play this. It's definitely not the must play Alan Wake game, for sure, but I did enjoy this different take. For context, I absolutely love the first and second games. The first one I beat multiple times, first on my old computer, again on PlayStation 4 when it was re released, and then I replayed the original when I got a more capable computer. My first one was not very powerful. Alan Wake 1 is such a unique experience and such a weird story, and I just love every minute of it. I love Remedy Entertainment and their brand of weirdness, and that especially extends to Alan Wake 2, which, when it came out, was my game of the year and still an experience that I still talk about to this day. But overall, the thing that brings you to these games are the atmosphere, the vibes, and the investigation elements of them. And I know two really went off with these investigation elements, but in the first one, your investigation was more just trying to figure out what was going on by reading every note, listening to every NPC and everything they had to say, trying to piece together just what in the hell was going on. And then even playing Control years later, giving you even more context and even more backstory on Alan's story. Here in Alan Wake American Nightmare, this really does feel like a DLC to Alan Wake 1. It's like Alan Wake 1.5. And honestly, I didn't even know I was so far through the game the first time that I played it, being as this game is only like 4 to 5 hours long if you're just running through it. Whereas me, I like to run around and look for collectibles. I like to really investigate and like look at everything and find every little TV that is prominently in every other Alan Wake game. They are here too. Every TV, every radio station, and things like that. This still took me about only 5 hours or so to really just do everything in the campaign section of the game. There is an optional arcade mode where you can just have waves of enemies run at you for, 9 minutes or so to gather up points, get modifiers and stuff like that. But it's definitely not the main draw, and I didn't find myself being very engaged by doing them. So for me, they didn't add much value to the package, but for some others, it might. For me, it was all about that main story. Here, Alan Wake is being basically trapped and pursued by Mr. Scratch. You are going through three main areas. First, you will be in a small town hotel area with a diner. Next, you'll be in an observatory area. And then finally, you will end up at a drive in theater. And these areas, while not big, they do house a good amount of secrets and change every time you go through them. I will also let you guys know there is a spoiler warning right here because I will spoil part of the story for you, as I need to kind of explain the structure of the game in order for you to really understand why I did kind of end up enjoying this a lot more than I thought I was going to. This is a time loop game, and in being a time loop game, every time you go through it, things are a little bit different. Now, it's not as like in tune and like experience driven as others may be, where you can just kind of do things here or there and kind of create a butterfly effect. You are more or less just on this journey with Alan. You are told where to go, you are told what needs to be done, and you're just there to blast the Taken and get the job done. And that being different from the other games, it is also a lot less of a horror game and more of an action game. There are ammo boxes stored everywhere. There is plentiful ammo everywhere you go. And as you collect manuscript pages, like in every Alan Wake, you can unlock better and better weapons for use when you come back around in this time loop. And you even keep these manuscript pages if you choose to start a brand new game, so that you can just use the better guns from the very start if you're struggling. But for me, I played this on Nightmare, and I had little to no issue, with the exception of one part in particular in the drive through that is pretty difficult no matter what difficulty you are on, just because you are trying to manage so many things. But what got me was the actual story. The story in this I actually thought was pretty entertaining, as were the characters that you met throughout it. Alan meets basically three main characters, one in each area, and each one brought a different kind of flavor to this experience. The last one being a little more flavorful than the others. You'll know what I mean when you talk to her. But basically, this is Alan trying to escape this time loop that Mr. Scratch, his clone, has created in order to keep him here and torture him, basically. Now, I don't want to give away everything in this story because I do think it's worth playing, and it's usually super cheap, especially on Steam. It goes for like $1, maybe two at the most on a sale. But I did want to give it a shout out and say that it is worth playing if you really enjoy Alan Wake and if you really enjoy the gameplay of Alan Wake, because as many things that are different in this game, that is pretty much the same. You are with your flashlight and your gun, you gotta shine the light to get rid of the darkness in these enemies and then blast away. With the exception of one weapon that I felt like trivialized the later two-thirds of the game that you could find in the drive-through theater. I can see why it only appears in this game, as this trivializes everything, because you don't even need your flashlight or any light source at all in order to kill something. You just let them have it with this crossbow. But that being like the outlier of things in this game, I enjoyed my time with it. Now, I don't think it's like a great game. I do think you can pretty much skip over this and not miss anything. In fact, I'm not even sure if it's canon or not, because there's some things in here after playing number 2 that left me kind of scratching my head. I'll have to look up for that more. But I did finish it just a little while ago, and I wanted to get my thoughts out there before I kind of forgot my initial feelings on the whole thing. It's a strange experience for sure, but I do think if you're a fan, go out and give this one a visit. But that's all I wanted to talk about today. If you enjoyed this short little video on the most random thing ever, consider subscribing. If you liked it, give me a like. If you dislike it, go ahead and hit the dislike button. It's fine. I know I have a lot of room to grow, but until next time, this has been Havoc Fanatic. Peace.